Welcome back to Certified MMA Locks Underdog of the Week. This is episode 3. We are currently 1 for 2, looking to be 2 and 3 going into this week. Our very first episode, we had Bruno Ferreira, and that did not play out how I wanted. Unfortunately, that one did not hit. The second one we had, I believe it was Luke Riley, and Luke Riley by knockout, and Luke Riley by knockout in rounds 2. Luke Riley moneyline hit, Luke Riley KO hit. Unfortunately, round 2 did not hit, but that means we're 1 for 2. 1 for 2, 1-1, 1-1. Let's make it a positive record this week. For this episode, for episode number 3, Certified MMA Locks Underdog of the Week, we are going with John.
You don't know, now you know. You don't know, now you know.
John Paul Lebosnoyani. In no ways is this an absolute lock. This is an underdog pick. And for the very first time, I will be fading Ko. I have backed him for every single one of his fights. But at the current odds and the current price tag and how the props are looking now, I have to take John Paul Lesbiani. I think John Paul is boxed very slick on the feet. If this stays on the feet, I expect John Paul to take full advantage of this. And if this goes down onto the mat as well too, John Paul's BJJ, his black belt, he should be able to threaten some subs and potentially even get the stand-up back up. I know this is a very tough pick for me because I really love Cole, and I think he's going to go far into this division. But the fact that he doesn't have that finishing potential, I think it puts me a little bit away from him on the fact that I don't think John Paul's going to feel really threatened. And if John Paul isn't threatened, man, he's already super aggressive. He's already super aggressive, and he's accurate as well too. His striking accuracy is at 61%. That's incredibly high for any division in the UFC, And John Paul, what he differs from Ko's opponents is every single one of Ko's opponents, they lack the ability to threaten or do any offense from the bottom. They're basically fishes on their back. John Paul Lesbiani is not that man. Yes, in his regional scenes, I believe there was one fight where he was controlled for a little bit, but I do believe he's very technical, man. I do believe he's done a lot of his homework on Ko to accept this opposition. I believe he has an opportunity to win here. I know he obviously their common opponent is Phil Rowe, and John Paul Lesbiani did not look as good as Ko against Phil Rowe, but the stylistic matchup is very different here. Ko's only win path, in my personal opinion, is not going to be a knockout, is not going to be a submission, it's going to be a decision. And in those 15 minutes, John Paul Lesbiani is extremely dangerous. I think there will be an opening that will come up somewhere in possibly even the first, second round, where Ko might be damaged by John Paul. And if Ko is damaged by John Paul, I think his game plan kind of falls apart. Like, the person I do favor to win, I will say this again, is Ko. But at the current odds, John Paul Lesbiani has a higher opportunity, bigger shot. I really liked him at the money line at plus 200. I think John Paul can get this one, man. And I don't think he wins this by decision. I think he wins this by finish. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be a knockout or a submission, because on the feet, Ko, I don't want to say he's chinny, but he leaves his head very lateral, and there's not much movement. There's really not that much movement, and for somebody as accurate as John Paul, he could take the advantage and potentially find a knockout. And then also on the ground too, if Ko is not careful with his entrance, he's not careful with his takedown entrance, John Paul Lesbiani he has slick submissions as well too. Overall, I like John Paul Lesbiani here by finish, and I believe I will be taking him as my certified MMA lock underdog of the week. Let's go for 2 and 3 out of this week, man.
Out. That was incredible. The way